Okay, awesome. All right, guys. So this week, I'm always excited, but I am like extremely excited to have my sweet friend Wendy Larson. She's shaking her head. So Wendy lives in Minnesota, and I did the op tour in Minnesota this year. And sweet Wendy picked us up from the airport, and we were like, we'd been up since 4 o'clock in the morning, and we're so just brain dead is all there is to it. But she spent the day with us, and I fell in love with this lady. She is all things amazing. She is wise, she is kind, she is funny, and she's just a really cool lady. And so just somebody that I honestly look up to, and she's just awesome. And so I'm so excited that she said that she was going to hop on here and share with us. She is a Diamond Ambassador. And so I'm just going to give it to her and let her go with it. So thank you so much, Wendy. I'm so happy you're on here.
You're so welcome. Who wouldn't have their belief built after listening to Beth Anderson totally say all those amazing things about you, right? Whether they're true or not.
They're true.
Okay. That is so sweet. You are so blessed to have her as your leader. We hit it off totally when we got to connect in Minnesota. I loved everything about her. Most of all, what I loved is that she was very passionate about her family. And so I could tell that her family was probably one of the biggest reasons why she pushed this business, is because she wanted to leave a legacy with her family. She wanted to get out of the workforce and be with her family. She is like all about those boys, right? So ironically, that is exactly my story too, right? It's probably a lot of our stories. But to tell you a little backstory about me, I am a regular stay-at-home mom of 3 kiddos. I used to be a preschool teacher at a little Christian school here in our area, and I realized that it was costing us more to put our kids in school and for me to actually work there than if I were to have stayed home with them. And so we made the decision, my husband and I, for me to be a stay-at-home mom, and we home educate our 3 kids. I have a daughter who's going to be a senior in high school. I have a son who's going to be in 7th grade, and I have another son that is going to be in 3rd grade. So very wide across the board. High school, middle school, elementary school. Crazy, huh? So when I got into Plexus 4.5 years ago, I did not come into this with a vision of the business opportunity. Very few of us do. What I did have a vision for is natural health and wellness, and I had gone back to school to become certified in natural health because I was battling a 12-year illness that kept me from being the mom that I wanted to be, from interacting with my kids, from just feeling like the old Wendy that used to just be happy and energetic and calm and patient. And you know, that Proverbs 31 woman that we all strive to be like there was a time that I was really like walking in that woman. And my friend reached out to me and told me about Plexus. I researched the ingredients. They were exactly in alignment with everything that we were learning in school, why we need to have balanced blood sugars, why we need to have gut health. I was already working on all of those, but the biggest kicker, the biggest one that like wrapped it all up for me was inflammation. And it is the one word that I think people talk the least about because they don't understand it. And chronic inflammation over time leads to disease. And so inflammation can be caused by various things: blood sugar, stress, medications, chemical exposures, all of those things. And over time, our body just can't take it anymore, and it starts wearing down and breaking down. And that's where I was. I was not dealing with my inflammation. I was dealing with gut health. I was on the perfect diets for gut health, you know, the bone broth, the don't eat certain things that could hurt your gut. Plexus had exactly what I was looking for, and it changed my life. Like the mama got off the couch that she was having a date with every single afternoon, and we'd talk about a love affair. The brain fog. You guys all know the things that people experience. If I had this for 12 years and I recovered from it in, you know, that 60 to 90 day window, that is life changing. So how did I decide to go from loving the products to doing this as a business opportunity? Well, here's what it was. My husband worked 3 jobs so I could stay home. He was not present in our home, in our family. I have 2 boys that need a dad, and I think that's, and I'm not saying this to cut down anybody. Everyone's circumstances is completely different, and I'm completely sensitive to it. But men need to raise our men, not mamas raising their men. That's not a bad thing, but I want my men to learn how to do men things like, I don't know, chainsaws and mowing lawns. And I was doing it all. And there's just things that God gives to men that can teach my men, my boys. So I was desperate just to make $100 a month so that I could have a savings account. I knew I had gold in my hands, and I opened my mouth and I just started sharing. I didn't know half of what I was talking about. I did not know all of the ingredients. My very first event, I gave myself. I invited everybody I knew. I held up a catalog and had testimonies taped to each page. I found an X Factor testimony. I found a Slim testimony. I found a Probio 5 testimony. I found a body cream testimony. And I just shared stories because all I had was my story. I didn't have anybody else's story. So I want you guys to be encouraged. If somebody doesn't know where to begin, there you go. Pick up a catalog, start taping some testimonies in it, and share stories. That's all it was. I had the best launch. So many people enrolled. So many people were customers. And a business was born organically, just like that. And I did not know about all the products. It was stories. So one thing that Beth wanted me to share with you guys is about IPA and working. I love talking about IPA. I'm a huge IPA person. I think anybody that's in this business and has a long-term vision for this business works in IPA business, okay? So how many of you guys got the IPA booklets if you were at convention? If you didn't, do not be sad. They're in our back office. So you can print out these sheets and work from them from your back office. IPA is something, there's only 2 things that I think identify IPA as. Only 2 things. There's a lot of things on the sheet, but only 2 things identify true IPA. Number 1, it is you talking about the business and the products to potentials. Or 2, you're talking about the business and the products to your team's potentials. That is true IPA. If you're not talking business and products to people, you don't have a business. Making relationships, all of that is important. All of those connections are great. All of that social media is fantastic, but you don't have a business unless you talk about the products or the business. And so when I do my IPA, I do it with my team. So every month I have a Zoom scheduled where we all work our IPA together because accountability goes a long way. And what I've also learned in this business is that an invisible leader has no influence over their team. If your team cannot see what you're doing and how you're working and what that looks like and the devotion that it takes, they're less likely to follow in your footsteps. They're less likely to let you influence them or lead them. So when I have people coming to me saying, I'm so frustrated, my team points aren't where they're supposed to be, nobody's talking in my chats, I could very easily look at them and say, I don't see you. I don't see you posting in team pages. I don't see you in your chats talking to your team. I don't see you having events for people. I don't see you anywhere. Why is it any surprise to you that your team is, we duplicate whether it's good or bad, right? We're going to duplicate good behavior and we can duplicate bad behavior. So if you're an invisible leader and you're not growing and your team can't see you, they're not going to do anything with you. And then when you finally get in and you jump in, you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be in front of my leaders. I'm going to be in my chats every single day. We're going to do Zooms. And you do it for a month. Do we not talk about consistency in this business all the time? This is no different than our customers or our brand new ambassadors taking our products for 30 days and expecting results. So why would our team be like right on board with us because we did this for a whole month and we're wondering where our results are? I know that we've talked about this in this, in all of other trainings, but what you do in the next 30 to 90 days, that is when you see fruit in the next 30 to 90 days beyond that. So it is a buildup, a momentum builder, and you finally get fruit from it. It takes a long time. So this is 31 days of IPA. In 3 of these books, you should have some good fruit coming from it, right? But you have to do 3 of those in order to see fruit. So that's what I want to talk to you guys about IPA. You need to be a visible leader to your team. So fill your calendar with Zooms, okay? I do a morning Zoom, an afternoon Zoom, and an evening Zoom, and I fluctuate it all over my calendar so I can get various types of people. Some people work during the day, so they maybe can only come to a nighttime Zoom. Some people have kids that go down for nap or they eat lunch, so I do a lunchtime one. Some don't work at all, and I get a lot of morning people. But my Zooms are all throughout the day, different times of the month, and I can get everybody. And my team is always seeing me work with them. Okay. Activity never lies. If someone comes to me and says, I'm really frustrated, I'm doing my Zooms, I'm in front of my team, I'm doing events, I'm still not growing. What is going on? I ask 3 things. Number 1, when was the last time you sponsored an ambassador? How many months ago was it that you last sponsored an ambassador? Because personal activity is really important, right? Number 2, when was the last time you developed a new level 1 silver? And number 3, how many events are you doing a month? When people self-reflect on their own activity, they can obviously see why they're not growing. They're not sponsoring, they're not developing or duplicating silvers, and they're not having enough events on their calendar. So, my suggestion, when we're done with the Zoom, you're going to pull out your calendar and you are going to pull up all of your level 1s, okay? In your back office, you guys know how to do that in your detailed genealogy to sort, so all of your level 1s float to the top. You are going to, here's your goal. I have a goal for you guys. A leader whose team is in growth and momentum has at least 20 to 30% of their level 1s silver. A team that is a leader who has a team that's in growth and momentum has 20 to 30% of their level 1 silver, okay? It doesn't mean that they have to be active at that time. It means what this is telling yourself is how confident you are talking about the business. This is what that's telling you. How confident are you sharing the opportunity about the business, and how are you duplicating that down? So I pull up all of my level 1s and I just single them out and I start asking them, how would you feel about me sharing some of these products with some of your friends? They're not going to know how to do it. I don't say to them, do you want to go silver? I give them the opportunity for me to do the legwork with them. I open the door for me to say, can I share something with your friends? Do you know somebody who has tummy troubles? Do you know a child that has eczema? Yes, I'm being totally uncompliant right now, but let's be real. When you talk to people in a real way, they're going to respond in a real way. And everybody thinks about somebody. And I'm like, you know what? I can do all the legwork for you. You only live an hour from me. How would you like to have a plexus on the patio this summer? And I said, I will bring the catalogs. I will bring the prizes. You mix the pink drink and let me do all the talking. Maybe some fun, healthy snacks too. Okay. And I will drive an hour. And first of all, I do have requirements. I do want to make sure 10 people are there. But that's my requirement. If I'm going to drive somewhere, at least 10 people have to be there. And I'll do all the talking. And they have an organic business that was born, maybe something they weren't looking for, maybe something they weren't looking to sell, but an opportunity to help somebody in need. And that's how it changes. So I do this all the time. All the time. And if somebody lives far away, I'll do an online event for them. Or I'll do an online Zoom for them, like what we're doing right now, and get their friends on. So that's my IPA. It's talking about business and product with people and my team's potentials. And that's how I have a 40% level of all my level 1 silver and above. Because I never stop talking about it. I always find people to work with. I always ask. So, okay, truth be told, I will have done this with my level 2s and level 3s and level 4s too. Because if I find workers, if I find somebody with high PV, or if I see somebody sponsoring somebody in and I haven't introduced myself to them yet, I will go do it. I go around a lot because you guys, think about this. Big, big, big vision. Wouldn't you love a team? What if you had a level 4 diamond that you never said hello to? What if you had a level 3 emerald that you never said hello to? Go around and introduce yourself and be friends with people on your team. You have no idea how much influence you have with them. It could totally spur vision for them, and you could find somebody who's running, even though their upline's not running. So that's my thing. I go around people all the time. Okay, last thing that I want to talk to you guys about, and this is really important, and kind of hang with me in the numbers. So backstory, I failed math in high school. However, I aced math in college. You know why I aced math in college? I think this is why. Because it was an online math course and I had to teach myself how to do it. Okay, so I'm going to be really vulnerable with you, and I'm going to give you some statistics of my last month's enrollments, okay? So last month, my team enrolled 467 people. That's pretty good, right? I got like this from my coach. Woohoo, that's great. You guys had a great month. 234 of those people came in with subscriptions on. Yay, 50%. Oh, okay, that's half. Okay, of those 234, 149 of them were my levels 1 through 7. Yikes, right? It gets even better. I have to subtract 20% of natural attrition, which I take 20% off the number that were personally sponsored in. I could take it off my whole team, but I don't. I take it off the number that was personally sponsored in. That is 92 people. 149 of my levels 1 through 7 minus 92 people, that is natural attrition, leaves me with 57 people worth points in my levels 1 through 7. The point of me sharing this with you is that it is time to develop a culture of subscriptions on your team, okay? It is a time to get creative. It is a time to incentivize those subscriptions. It is a time to talk about this, not with just your leaders, but maybe going around your leaders and introducing yourself to those levels 2s, 3s, and 4s and saying, hey, I noticed you missed a step when you enrolled. Can I help you get your subscription on? I am honest with people and say, you may not have results in 30 days, but what if you had great results in 60 and you'll never know it? It's being honest, and there's no disappointment if there's not results in 30 days. There could be elation if there is, but people that don't do this for 60 days, this is just like doing our RPA. We know that the results are seen after 60 days and 90 days. And then the other thing is I usually talk to those people and ask, who do they know that has tummy troubles? Who do they know that might want to lose a little bit of weight? I start getting them to think about who they know, because when they start telling me back, I'm going to be like, then you probably want to have your subscription on, because you could help a lot of people and you could get reimbursed for your help. I don't use a lot of business terms. I use layman's terms. Just like when I talk about health and wellness to people, if I'm up here over their heads talking about body systems and functions and why these things work with certain people, they're going to look at me with a blank stare. I feel that's the same way with our business. Talk to them like layman's terms. They're going to respond. They're going to act with you, and they're going to do something. So I just wanted you guys to have a little bit of that number reality, because we had a great enrollment month, But when it comes down to all of it, only 50% or 57 people actually give me points in my levels 1 through 7. So that's not huge growth. So it's not to discourage.
It's so important.
What?
It's so important. Yeah. And I think that's one thing that we all, as teens are struggling with, because before it was a requirement. And then when they took that requirement off, everybody just kind of stopped talking. I've never stopped saying you need to do that step. I've never made it an option for are there people that don't listen to me and don't click it? Every once in a while, yes. But for the most part, every person I sign has that subscription on, because it is so important, guys. And seriously, like, who's reached their potential, if anything, in 30 days? So much more. But what if we quit at 30 days? Seriously. And so it's it's so, so, so important. So I'm so glad that you talked about that. Thank you. Do you see that? Can you respond to a couple questions? Is that okay? What ideas do you have to incentivize subscriptions?
Oh, okay. That's a great question. I'll tell you what I'm actually doing right now with my team. I have this open for my whole team currently right now, because June has been slow enrollments for my team. I don't know about your guys' teams. You guys might be doing all something different, but this is open for my team-wide. Here's what we're doing. I'm doing a $20 rebate to any person who comes in with a welcome pack, a subscription of 100 PV or more, and they make their first post and tag me in it.
That's awesome. That's
so
great.
They have to do all things to get the $20. You guys, I will tell you what, people will do anything for their people to get $20, and they will get their subscriptions turned on miraculously. All of a sudden, it's not hard anymore. And they will help them with their first post, because miraculously, talking about the business isn't hard anymore. It's amazing what people will do for their friends to get their friends $20 back. And these friends have a business born on the day they enroll, and they don't even have their welcome pack yet. So
yeah,
that's awesome. Good. It's duplication too, because they're practicing muscles that they haven't used before.
Lori, she said if they have their subscription on set at 100 PV or more, and guys, that's so important. It makes me crazy when I see, oh yay, we have our subscription on, and it's like $68 or $25. No, it needs to be 100 PV. They have to make her first post and tag her in it, and they have to buy a welcome pack. Which these are all things that people should be doing. Wendy, tell me this. When somebody goes, nope, I'm not going to work this business, I'm straight up wholesale, what do you say to that?
I don't care. I don't say anything.
Yeah.
I'm like,
so you don't let that stop you, is my point of that. You don't let that stop you.
No. And I would treat them just like I would probably somebody working the business, because it really, how many people worked this business because of the culture that they were involved with, or the community? They loved the community and the culture, and all of a sudden, if they wanted to be a part of that and they wanted to get into that activity, they started sharing a little bit more. They started realizing it wasn't so scary. I don't care if that's what people want. How many of us have a business, a strong, healthy business based on those wholesalers? A lot. That's probably 80% of our points is on wholesalers that don't share the business, right? Because don't we usually have 20 to 30% of our workers, of our team, are workers?
Yeah.
So,
but you definitely still keep in contact with them. You don't just ignore, for sure, right? That's a huge thing. And I think sometimes, and I love saying that, and I was on a Zoom last night sharing my story, and I said, Celeste, even though I told her I would never, ever, 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 ever do this, she didn't just listen to me, really. I mean, not that she pushed me by any means, but she kept in contact with me, and she kept talking to me. And I think sometimes when somebody says, okay, I'm going to be wholesale, sometimes the thing is, okay, well, I'm not going to talk to you anymore, but we have to keep in that communication, because there's so many of us that did join just for wholesale who now are diamond, sapphire, emerald, senior ruby, gold, whatever. They said, I will never work this business. And so I think that's super, super important, to for sure keep them in contact, always adding them to team pages, even if they're just wholesale, always adding them to your team page. And I believe they should be at least on one diamond team page if you are I mean, obviously this is a diamond team. We have several of them. So I know sometimes you don't want to add them to 50 pages, but they need to be on at least one diamond page. Absolutely, for sure. I do believe that. So yeah. Okay. This has been so awesome. I love it. And I love hearing, what I love is hearing from different teams and how people are doing different things. Like that incentive is great to do if they do these 3 things, because they're buying their welcome pack, they're getting the subscription, so they're going to be successful, and they're making a first post. Because people, if you can get past that first post sometimes, it's amazing what you can do, right? And so that's awesome. So good. I love it. So excited. Does anybody else have any questions about anything that she said? What do your online events look like for team members who are not local?
Oh, golly. They vary from person to person. I have pulled a lot of the events out of our Jewel page. So contact your nearest Jewel, because there's a lot of online events already on there that we can just copy and paste from. And always there's live testimonies too.
Yeah, so for sure. And I think you can also do something like this. If you want to have, a party type thing, you could do a Zoom like this and have people share their testimonies as well. But there are so many different online events already done that we need to work smarter and not harder. And there are things that we already have in place that we can use that people have created for us. So I was talking about that last night too. We have all these gifts in Plexus, and we have people who are great at report systems, and we have people that are great at online events, and people who are great at making graphics. And because we have the culture that we do, everybody shares these things, and it's absolutely amazing. I copy and paste things on my phone all the time because I'm like, oh, that's so good. That's so good. So anyways, yeah. So, okay. Anybody else? Does anybody else have anything? Any questions before we?
Can I add something about the events?
Of course, yes, please.
The biggest momentum in my biggest business building, distance was not a limitation to me in my business building. I drove from Minnesota to Montana to do an event. I drove from Minnesota to Pennsylvania to do an event. I flew from Minnesota to Texas to do an event. There is just something about an in-person event, that passion, the testimony, the connecting, that cannot be duplicated online. And I just feel that was a huge, Beth, you remember what it was like 2.5 years ago. There were events all over the United States because diamonds were getting out there in front of people doing events. And not saying that that needs to be on our shoulders, but it's not limited to just diamonds. Anybody needs to go out there and do events. I drive still to this day long ways to do events, because what is my passion in this? It's to get people feeling better. There shouldn't be a distance limit to helping people feel better.
Absolutely. I believe 100% getting in front of somebody, and they can hear your passion. They can hear your excitement. They can hear your story. They can touch, feel. We're doing an event out here in Aledo tonight where they can see the products, try the products. You don't have to know it all. People say that all the time. I love, I talk about all the time, I love sip and seas. My sip and seas, or however you want to call it. Tonight we're having, I don't even know what it's called. Jen Weiland's the one that did it. And she's in Nebraska doing one tonight too. But we're like, well, we'll do that date because her graphic is cute. So we're using her graphic. But Lean into Summer, I think is what it's called. And we're having ladies night. And but I believe I have 95% success rate. Anything, whatever you want to call sip and seas, because you get there, they hear you, they hear your excitement, they see that you're a real person, and people are like, what do you do with those? I sit around a table, or I sit on the couches, and I do life with these people. I talk about their kids and their travel plans and whatever they want to talk about, just like I would with my friends. And I throw my story in there. Sometimes I have all the products set out. Sometimes I don't. It doesn't matter, because I'm telling a story, and stories are what sells this business. We can know everything about the products. Wendy knows I'm not a product girl. I had to ask her a question at convention. I go, Wendy, answer this question. And she sent me this great answer. And she's like, does that make sense? I was like, okay, yes, I trust you. Because for me, I want to learn. But that's not the way my brain works all the time. And so I So for some people, seeing they're reading the ingredients of the products, that's going to go so far over their head. But me saying, hey, you know what this pink drink does? It balances your blood sugar. What does balancing your blood sugar do? All these things. It helps with inflammation. It helps with healthy cholesterol levels. It gives me energy. I just feel better. I don't drink soda all the time anymore. I don't eat sugar all the time anymore. That's what it does for me. You don't have to know every single detail. The more you do it, the more you will learn. Absolutely. I mean, there's words that I can say now that 5 years ago I was like, what is that? How do you say that? So anyways, just go do it. That's the biggest thing, is just go do it. Don't be scared, because go do life with people. Go do life with your friends. Make it fun. We have girls that have little kids that have had, hey, let's have a play date at the park, and in their stroller had a little pink drink so people could take samples of the pink drink. Do whatever. Have a pool party this summer. Go to dinner with your friends. You're doing that anyways. Don't people are like, but aren't you tricking them? No, I'm not tricking them. The graphic that I've sent out to my friends is ladies night tonight. We're going to have a wine and cheese ladies night. But we're also going to have our new Plexus products that you can try. I'm not tricking anyone, but I'm doing life with people. And that's what it's about. It's about relationships, right? And so you can make it look however you want it to look, but just absolutely do it. But I agree. Getting in front of people, I'm a big traveler. I love to travel. There's seasons in my life that I can do it very more easily than other seasons in my life. I also have to put boundaries around, my kids are coming and they're waving, boundaries for my family, for sure. That's a huge thing. It's boundaries for me. But getting out there, there's nothing like getting out there, for sure. It's worth it. I promise it's worth it. And when I travel too is when I see the most growth on my team. And it's not anything that I'm different than anybody else, but it's people hearing other people's stories. That's what it is. And so sometimes you just need to do things that require a little bit of sacrifice. But I'm telling you, the sacrifice that I've given now allows me to live a life of time freedom, that I can put my family first before anything else, and I can stop everything that I'm doing to go be with my family when I need to be. And it's so worth it, right, Wendy? To have your husband at home with you all the time, it's so worth it. So, yes. All right. Well, any more questions real fast? If not, we will let Wendy go. But I'm so excited. I have loved every minute of this. It's been so good. And just thank you so much for taking time to spend with our team this morning.
Yes, thank you guys so much. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye, guys. See y'all later. Have a good day.